All right. So I'm so excited today to be joined by Gian Nass, who comes from South Brazil. And how are you today, G?
I am very great. Thank you for having me. It's actually an honor to be speaking to one of my first teachers.
Excellent. Well, I'm honored to talk to you. And what caught my attention was that you were posting from Dreamforce, which you just got back from Dreamforce, which was last week. And what really caught my attention was that you had to quit your job in order to travel to America and attend Dreamforce. So tell me about that decision and what led up to you having to make that decision of quitting your job in order to go to Dreamforce. How'd that play out?
Yeah, so I got the certificate, the voucher to go to Dreamforce because I was doing a volunteer work for the Trailblazer community groups in the São Paulo chapter here in Brazil. So Salesforce has given me the opportunity to go, which in other words was a gift. And I received this in March or May, something like this. It was beginning of the year, and I started in a new company. Of course, cannot share the name, but it was July. So basically, I got the gifts before entering the company. And when I was offered this job, I mentioned to them, "Oh, I accept the working hours, the conditions, the salary, the benefits, but I have a week in November that I will need to attend a professional business and it's related to jobs. So I would like to go." And then talking to my boss and also the processes, she said, "No, it's all good. You don't need to worry. We just have to fill in like some paperwork and ask requests for that. But you are all good. You are all set and you can come in." Then I started working. It was about 3 to 4 months that I was in the job already. And then these paperworks, these forms that had to be filled in, they came back with the result that I could not go. So I said, "Oh my God, I just started. It's a new job. It's a company that I always wanted. They had like a big name, a lot of products. I could develop myself as well. But in the same time, I worked so hard to make the events for the Trailblazer community, and it was something that I feel like I really deserved it. Like it's not something like I own in the scratcher and now I can go to Dreamforce. I really worked, and it was a very big commitment to also have the honor to go there, talk to other people. So I had to do the decision: should I stay and respect company's policies, or should I go to my dream? Which would be like the first opportunity that I ever had. I'm just over 2.5 years in Salesforce. So I said, "Oh, this is a company I had to provide for my family. It's a good salary. It's a good city." And then these kind of thoughts started to bump into me. But as the time was getting shorter and shorter to the event, I was not sleeping anymore. I was barely eating of stress. Anxiety levels were skyrocketing, and I couldn't actually see why that was happening. Thankfully, my wife is super supportive, and she was able to provide some enlightenment in my life. And then she said, "Man, you need to go. I know it's going to be tough. It's a very bad decision, and I am very crazy to be talking this, but you are a doer and you have to go. It's your thing." And then of course, oh my God, and it's a decision, and then the financial terms and the commitment, it's also a lot of money. It's like 5 times what I would spend, because 1 real, which is my currency, is 5 times weaker than $1. So it would be like a huge commitment as well. I kind of like agree. And then when this light bulb came in, like I needed to go, I did another go. I did like a second turn with the processes and the forms and talked to my boss. Uh, can I actually go? Can I actually make this happen? Is this any other way to make this happen? And eventually, was just like a gifts and gimmicks policies from the company, where you cannot accept any gifts from the a supplier. And I said, "But look, I got this before joining the team, and we had a deal when I first started." I said, "Well, if you go, I am so sorry, but I will have to fire you." And then I said, no, no, I am the one that is doing wrong. So if I am going, I will resign. I will not do anything against the company, or I will not, either I will not disrespect any of the company's policies. And then I tried and I tried, and it was Wednesday, the week before the event. And I said, yeah, you know what? I am terribly sorry. It's so far one of the toughest decisions in my life, but I am giving in my 30 days notice here. I expect you understand what are the reasons. This is going to help me grow, learn, and also network with more people worldwide as I'm doing this right now. So I am resigning. And she said, well, you have some, I don't know if I can say this, but you have some serious commitment.
Right.
Let's put this word. She said she also mentioned that it was a very ethical decision, that she supports big time, and also she feels sorry for losing me to the market again. That she wanted to have me in the team, and of course it was just some short months, but she totally respects. So we have a saying in Portuguese that you leave the company, but you still with an open door to perhaps come back in a future, because I recognize I was not doing anything against the company, and I was the one wanting to do. So that's why the reason I resigned.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that really that took a lot of courage. I'm sure that was a hard decision as well. I'm impressed that your wife was on board as well and encouraging you to be a doer. And long term that will pay huge dividends. Right now as you're walking it out, it may be kind of scary, and I think as well, just want to I think, congratulate you for following their policies and not just causing a scene or a problem, and trying to do things the right way. And it just boiled down to, do I go this way or do I go that way? And you felt like
Hmm.
that your journey and where you needed to go was leading you towards going to Dreamforce. So now that you're back home, and looking back on that experience, what was the experience of Dreamforce like? And do you feel good about your decision, bad, or unsure where you're at now post Dreamforce?
So even on the very first day of Dreamforce, I mean, I arrived on Sunday, but I count Monday as even not officially the first day. I already had some meetings, and then I met some clients. Even on the first day was actually very, very easy to see that it was a good decision. Of course, I could have taken both. So I could have stayed in my job and also went to Dreamforce. And this was not possible, but um, I did my decision. There's no coming back right now. In the first day, I met the guy that created Einstein Analytics. And then I knew who that guy was. This was Monday. So I met Keaton, his name. And then I thought, oh my God, look at that. That's Keaton. And like when your heart is like, oh my God, this is the real deal. It's like, pinch me. And I know who he was. But then he looked at my face. And then I was with a colleague of mine. And then he looked at us and say, hey, Gian, Lucas, come in. And was like, what? Like, mind blown. He knows me. Perhaps someone has just said, hey, we're just invited to the two other guys, they're about to join in 5 to 10 minutes. Perhaps someone said, but he knew who we were. And this was like, oh my God, it's like I'm talking, I don't know, to a very high celebrity. That's how I felt in that time. So I remember the adrenaline rushing in my blood on Monday night, and it was only Monday. We had some very, very growth conversations in that moment. On Tuesday, when the event started, I could never ever even imagine anything like it. We have similar events here in Brazil. I have attended some events with a lot of people, but not even close. Maybe 10% of what I have seen in Dreamforce on Tuesday. So I went to a lot of sessions, did some breakout sessions, watched the keynote, and then to close Tuesday, at the end of the night, we had a party provided by Tableau with a very famous singer. I'm not sure if I can actually share, but
That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Macklemore. So he normally does shows for like 50 to 70, maybe 100,000 people in like huge stadiums. And then we were like in a very pristine area of under 3,000 people. So I could actually, if I wanted to, I could almost touch the guy. So it was very, very good. This was Tuesday. On Wednesday, again, more sessions, more talking. We went to a place called Mina Street where they had a closed down event for only Einstein Analytics. This was closed the whole week. So you could just go there and stop and like recharge your batteries, have a drink, a snack, you know, and then also talk more, because this was my goal for Dreamforce, to learn more regarding or towards the Einstein Analytics parts. Met a lot of people. At the end of the day on Wednesday, we had the Fleetwood Mac, and also the starting show was the band called Beck, which were great shows. Then we went to the Oracle Park, which again, very good. Of course, I'm not going to Dreamforce only for the shows, but it was very good indeed. And then I was sharing to everyone, man, on Monday I met Keaton. On Tuesday we went to this big show. On Wednesday we have this show. I'm already starting to be afraid of Thursday. You know what's gonna be. You know, I was saying, mind blown is too small to actually represent everything that has been going through. And like every single session, you feel like you're taking not the small nuggets from and mine. You're taking like big shovels full of gold from learning and meeting people and connecting and just finding your way in an easier way. So this was Wednesday. Then on Thursday, I saw Mark Benioff, like this. I guess he's like 10 foot tall and 500 pounds. I don't know. He's huge. I am 6'4" and I weigh now, let's say 250 pounds. So I am not small at all. And he is bigger than me. It's like, it was intense. We were talking, seeing to the eye, you know, eye level. I stopped him, shake his hand, ask for a picture. We had an intense, let's say 30 seconds conversation, and he really took the time to actually talk to me. You know, it was super honored. Normally it would be like, hey, take a picture and then like go away, you know, or like some of these famous people, they tend to be rude or mean or just like whatever picture and then go. And he actually listened to me. I was able to thank him for my starting to change my career because I believe in the product. And then he asked me to go to the mindfulness area, which was related to what we have talking. And then he kept on going. I felt respect. I felt that I had the opportunity, and it was like, you know, after the picture, I was like, now I can go home. You know, that's it. I'm a winner already. If I would want the scratcher, this would be is the same as finding a winner scratching without even buying it. That's how I felt, you know. So I was like, oh my God. And then Thursday, because on Tuesday we have a big party, and Wednesday there was the Fleetwood Mac. On Thursday, all the vendors and the suppliers and everyone were throwing parties away. So I woke up like 5 a.m. in the morning on Tuesday, and I went to sleep on Friday, I guess 4 a.m. in the morning from the other day. So it was a lot of going here and there. I walked from Salesforce Tower to the Oracle Park, where they were meeting in a bar. A lot of businesses, meeting more people, sharing stories. Then I went to a second party. Then I finished in a third party.
So, sounds like an amazing experience. And I'm curious, I know that you've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for a while. You mentioned the job that you had to leave in order to attend Dreamforce. So, how many Salesforce jobs have you had, and how long have you been on this journey inside the Salesforce ecosystem?
Since I started, I was what we call a contractor here. So basically, I would work for a certain period in a project. And then after this certain period, I have two choices. Either I stay or I have to find another project. Most of the time, I always try to find a new project to also learn more. But if I'm going to count, I had a remote job. This was my very first job. Then I went to São Paulo last year, where I worked in telecom company for, I guess, was 8 months. After that, I did another 8 months as a contractor. Then I left São Paulo and I was now about 6 months in Curitiba. So I had four roles, four different projects, let's say, working with Salesforce since I started. But again, normally the contracts here, they last 6 months. Some of them can be like a 12-month, but I never had one. And then in two projects, when the 6 months expire, they had no one else to put in, and I said, no, I can be here until we find someone, and then I would go to the next company or project. So this is mostly since I started. And as a curiosity, in Dreamforce alone, I have had 9 job interviews. So of course, I was mentioning to everyone, man, it was very tough. I had to resign to be here. Oh man, for real? You have to resign? Oh, what's your skills? What do you know about Salesforce? How much do you know, like agile mindset and product management or system owner or architecture of the designing things and stuff like this? And then when you see, you just found out into a job interview where I actually had 9 job proposals during Dreamforce alone. So I am not afraid at all of taking the decision. I was luckily able to find a job while doing attending Dreamforce. So I have a saying, I mean, not my saying, but I guess Denzel Washington mentioned this, is that he says, if you fall forward, then you're gonna see where you're gonna hit. And I was falling because I had to resign my job, but I was falling forward to Dreamforce, which was a very big event. So then in there, of course, I was doing a lot of talkings here and there, of course, but I was able to find a job.
Wow. So that is awesome. Because I was hoping to be able to kind of document your journey because I wanted to check in to see, well, how did that decision turn out? And so you've already secured your next job and you landed that at Dreamforce, right?
Yes.
And you had 9 job interviews. So I think that this is a great example of, because I see employers hesitant to send their people to Dreamforce, one, because of the expense, but it's interesting to me because you were unable to attend. You ended up quitting your job and you were able to find another in a matter of days. And you were in a different country. Was that your first time in America?
I have lived in America a few years ago, like 8 years ago, but I haven't been back since I was working with Salesforce. So after Salesforce, no US.
Okay, okay. But that's amazing, quick return on investment, and I'm so glad to hear that you've landed a job already. And I was thinking too, when I saw your post about having to resign your job in order to attend Dreamforce, normally there would be like oh, that's a huge risk, and it feels like a huge risk because you're living it out.
Yes,
But
it is.
you put your networking skills in gear around 170,000 Salesforce professionals. You had a compelling story, and you exhibited that you believe in yourself, you believe in the platform and the possibilities by doing what you did. You weren't just talking; you were actually taking action. You were doing the falling forward and going for the next step. So that's amazing. So when do you start your new job?
I start on Monday, actually. I just asked this week as a week off because as you guys can see in the back here, like my house is a full mess. I am moving from my hometown, Joinville, to Curitiba, which is a 2-hour drive. But my whole house is inside boxes. And then I asked this new job, can I just have this week to finish the packing and then move to this new city? But yeah, I start on Monday. I'm super happy.
Amazing. That's so exciting. I'm so happy for you. And then also I was started following you and I'm like, hey, I got to talk to you about this, but you got to share your journey at Dreamforce. And so you got to get on mic and talk about your own trailblazer story. So what was that like? And what did you share there at Dreamforce that you would like to share to those that maybe didn't get to see that?
Mhm. Yeah, I was actually invited to do a 30-minute session in Dreamforce. I was invited like September maybe, so a long time ago. But as I had already the no of not going from the company, and then I was also talking to the Salesforce people in regarding this lecture that I was going to give about my full story that would need another 30 minutes. I explained, I really want to go. You have no idea the real meaning of this. But if I go, I will have to resign. And I am considering this. I just didn't do the full math, but I am trying to work to see if I can go or not. And then Salesforce people told me, no, Gian, calm down. You're going to have another chance. Don't rush too eager, uh, we can make this happen. I'm gonna ask you to indicate someone else from your network that you know for sure is going to go to share the story. I was able to indicate a friend, and then he had his sharing. But then when I quit, I learned the sentence that says anything can happen at Dreamforce, and if your dream is not high enough, if your dream doesn't scare you, is not high enough. This full sentence I learned on Monday when I went to get my lanyard with my ID. And I say, well, I gonna get to put my, as you said, networking skill up to the test to see what can happen. And then I talked again to this lady from Salesforce that invited me to share the story and say, hey, I'm here. If anything goes south, you can count on me. I have a saying from the top of the lungs, from my heart. I was just shared to the people. And then some highlights. Of course, it's a very long story. I would need at least 30 minutes to put in perspective. But when I started doing Trailhead, I didn't have a computer. I sneaked in my wife's university with her ID to get in security. The security is not wasn't great, but I would sneak in with her ID, go to the lab, log in, and do trailheads every night. So this was like one of the very tough decisions. Not tough decision, but like very hard to actually do. I couldn't do trailhead and every time I wanted. So there was times I did like 16 in one day, 16 badges in one day, and there were times I did like 5 in a full week. Because life, you have to work, you have to provide for your family, you have a lot of responsibilities, and in the second plan, you have to focus on the trailheads. Another part, I was very depressed, very depressed. I was weighing, how much that would be that in pound? I was weighing 150 kilos. I guess would be like 320 pounds. So I was very fat, very heavy, with all due respect if you have this kind of weight, but I was feeling fat. And I was like big face and big arms. And then I am a big guy. I can have this weight. But when I reached 150, which is way above 300 pounds, I said, oh, wait, now it's too much. Now it's time to change some habits, change some things. But I was also very, very depressed in the beginning when I started, when I met Salesforce, when a friend showed me Trailhead. I was actually thinking and finding a way to my own end. And it was very tough to actually surpass this, go through depression. And now I just see like I have a huge drive towards life. All lives matter. That's why I support equality, women talking, colored people, whatever. I just see like, is your blood red? Then it's all good. There's no labeling in people for me. So the fact that I have to talk to someone, oh, you support equality, I do it too. I support all the lives. And this was also very tough on me in the beginning. And then the third part, just to close it out, to not extend too much, I have to had to leave my wife and daughter in my hometown. So my wife was taking care of my daughter. I was providing from them, but I went to live alone by myself in São Paulo. And then the salary was so small that I could only come back every other weekend. So it would be like one weekend I would stay in Sao Paulo. The next week I would do whatever I could to actually come back from Sao Paulo to Joinville. This would be like 9-hour drive, very far away, very tiring, exhausting. 1,200 kilometers to go and come back. And then last year I lost over 50 pounds. This year I lost another 20. So of course I was also wanting to lose some weight, but the changes that happened in my body is very small compared to what the challenges that I have gone in my mind. The growth, the networking, the learning, badges, and I also felt the belonging or the commitment to a new place, to a new market that I didn't even know that existed. I found Ohana and I found friends that I feel honored in talking to them and calling them as friends. When they reach me back in WhatsApp or Skype or LinkedIn, hey Gia, I have some issue here or whatever, I need help. Not always is only a Salesforce thing. Sometimes they are like, I'm short on money, or I'm going to another city. Can you pick me up on the airport? Or my wife wants to break up with me. Can you have any help? So it's really friendship. It's really belonging to yourself, belonging to community, and belonging to them. So I mean, this what I think what can close it out, the biggest highlights of my story, but it's a very long story.
That's very inspiring, and you're tapping into something larger than yourself, and you're helping others. And that's what I like about this community of this Salesforce ecosystem, this Ohana that you mentioned, is that everyone does seem so willing to help others out, and we all started from zero as far as our understanding, our knowledge, and just keeping that beginner's mindset as we march forward. I think that's what it is to be a trailblazer, is to go forth and to remember where you came from, and also to help others along the way. And as well, it does help that the jobs are plentiful, and you're a great example of going out and doing that and landing the next thing as well. And you spoke as well about overcoming some challenges with sneaking into your wife's university computer lab to do trailhead badges, rather than looking at that as an obstacle, like, oh well, you found a solution to your problem. So that's all just very inspiring. And I really want to thank you for spending time. You could be packing boxes right now. You're in the middle of a move as well. You're changing jobs, a move, just getting back from the States for Dreamforce, a lot going on. And so this is an opportunity, though, to share your story with other people that maybe haven't had a chance to meet you yet.
Mhm.
And so I'm curious, at what point did you discover my courses, and when did you start Trailhead? When did you discover me? How did you find me?
Well, my mentor today, which Carlos is seemed so easy. I was never an IT guy. I don't even know how to install a printer or to format a PC. Now, after 2 years, I can open up code and I can understand what the code is doing, but I cannot write it down. So I can see if it's a string, it's a query, or whatever it's doing. But that's about it. But my mentor, he gave me an analogy that I would like to share to you today. Let's say you lost your phone, right? Now you gotta buy a new one. And then you have to download all the apps. You have to sync into your Google account. You have to configure all your alarms, how many you would need, to try to remember how many you would need, of course, because you're going to have to be configuring them. Also, you have to change the ringtone, uh, logging in and syncing in your credit cards and stuff like this, downloading your contacts. So basically, you have to make this new phone work as the old one was, but you don't have the old one anymore. And that's basically Salesforce. Let's say you have the platform is there, it's ready, but now you have to change into adapted platform to the business. So let's say you are a baker and now you want to sell bread, you can adapt Salesforce somehow, doing opportunities, collecting leads, managing cases to a baker store. But no, 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 I'm not a baker, I'm a butcher, I sell meat. Again, you can apply that. It would be different from the bakery, but you can use the same platform. So when he showed me that, oh man, that's easy, I guess I can do it. Three ahead is great, I'm loving it, but what else? Give me more. And then my mentor, like maybe 2 3 weeks after I have done some three aheads already, he say, oh, we have this course. It's at Udemy. It's a great guy. You go there and then you type Mike Wheeler, and then he's gonna actually teach you the basics, like the 1, 2, 3, to be an admin. And then what's an admin? Well, is this a good thing? Like I didn't even know what was an admin or a dev or whatever. And then I went to the course, and then I remember when I bought, it was on sale because it would be my first time buying anything from Udemy, and then I had like 50% off. I don't even remember, but it was a huge discount. And I guess I ended paying under $10. I am not even sure. And then I bought the administrator course, and there was also some simulations, which for me was very needed because the way we learn is different than the questions asked. For example, you have 5 questions, you have to choose 4. In Brazil, you don't choose 4, you just choose one that is wrong. So then now you have 4 that is right. It's the same thing, but it's not the way we are learned to do it. And then also there was another example, 4 questions, and then you have to choose 2. But from the 4, all of them are acceptable or all of them are correct. An example, to do an automation test, you can use like workflow, process builder, a trigger, or a visual flow, for example. All of them are correct, but now you need to see which one would be the best or the easiest. And then you have to try to think how to bring a higher value to this deliverability. So I think a workflow and then a process builder would be the best scenario, because if I would try to use like a visual flow or a trigger, would be like killing an ant with a bazooka. So yeah, we always say this sentence. So the simulations test is not, and the best part of your simulation, Mike, is that you have no real questions. And I can't stand this. I don't support having real questions. People sell mock exams on the internet.
Right.
You have a lot of people that you just type in certification Salesforce and you name the certification you want. There's people selling this. I think they should lost their credentials. I really do. Uh, and I think the certification is just a piece of paper. It means nothing. You are already certified. You just go to the test to bring what is rightfulness yours. If you have to do some sneaky things or to cheat in somehow, you are not worth it or you don't deserve to have this. That's why I only hold one to this day. I have failed already 5 times to the advanced administrator, and I'm trying the app builder now because I didn't know how to do deploys. So how could I be an advanced administrator without learning how to do deploys? In the companies that I worked, we always used Jenkins. So I was not, I didn't know how to use change sets or inbound and outbound change sets. Now that I learned, now I'm gonna get another try. But I really believe that your courses, when I met, like, let's say a month after I started Trailhead, they give me the push. Because when you feel that you're like, oh my God, I am alone, it's me, Trailhead, and God, it's already enough. But then you have people willing to share their knowledge, such as yourself. So as I said, it's truly an honor to be speaking to you, Mike. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And thank you for sharing your journey as well. Very inspiring. I think that this is going to reverberate. This is, I feel inspired, and this is why I do what I do, is to meet people like you that are out there and are going for it, and the way that you spoke as well about the fact that I don't have the actual exam questions. And I get criticized for my questions maybe not being as similar as the actual exam. And I spent a lot of time creating those questions and being very careful to not have them be too similar to the actual test. Because the last thing I want is for Salesforce to say, hey, Mike, stop doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I serve at their good graces, basically. And so, and the end goal is to spread the message of and the platform of Salesforce. So I am, trying to add value, but also I do see it that, just like you said, the certification is just a reflection of the talent and the abilities that you bring. And those that resort to cheating, It's just a reflection on a lack of talent, or a lack of a willingness
Mhm.
to work.
I wouldn't say with a prejudice, because sometimes people cheat without even knowing that
Hmm.
they are doing the right path. So that's where courses like your came in. A lot of people are starting and they feel disconnected, or they feel like, I don't know, there's no trust. Who is this Mike guy, or who is Gian? Who are these two crazy guys talking? Why would I watch a video like this? And I tell you, look into your eyes, you know, watch, belong. We have been to your place. We have done what you're doing right now. And it works. Trust. If you build trust first in yourself, then on a product, you will grow.
Awesome. Great. Well, I appreciate it so much, Gia, and so inspired by your story. Thank you again for spending this time with me today.
Can I just share one final thought
Cer-
regarding job?
Certainly.
I saw other people finding jobs and looking for jobs or for projects, and I never had to do this, but I try to use empathy when I try to find a job. So let's say, Mike, you are now a recruiter, okay? And I know that Mike Wheeler Media is actually looking for a Salesforce admin. Or let's say I don't even know. If I'm going to talk to you with this intention of finding a job, the best scenario is to not touch this subject at all. Let me show you how. I was going to talk to Mike. Hey Mike, how you do with Mike Wheeler Media? And then of course we start talking platform wise or functionality. So let's say Mike is now managing the Service Cloud platform that he uses in his Mike Wheeler Media company to manage cases of people complaining that they want real questions from the exams. That is not going to happen. So now he can already try to use knowledge, and knowledge we can already try to use the frequently asked questions, or FAQs, as you may. And then I can already start doing this sharing. Hey Mike, I think you can do with knowledge. And also, if you have like a big team, we can already try to put omni-channel, which is a functionality of Service Cloud. And I really believe this can help you, because then you can train your people, and also they can answer multiple cases simultaneously. And in the same time, you're gonna answer cases more faster, which increases productivity or velocity, how you'd like to measure it. And then now Mike sees the value. So at this moment that I took a time from my knowledge and shared to Mike, to one of what he is going, then I can try to go towards the job or the role. So first you try to listen, try to give the real value you have by doing Trailhead. It's in sharing, not only in knowing. You can have like a gazillion badges on Trailhead. If you're not willing to share or to help others, or to show it that you can actually do, there's not much of a value. But if you are willing to stop a time, listen to what your potential hire or manager or potentially new boss it's going through, he might have a pain that you are now able to address. So if you can actually show that you already found a way in the platform to actually deliver something regarding any functionality inside of the platform, then I am 100% sure Mike is going to say, hey, yeah, you actually have a good idea. Have you done this, or do you know how to do this? Well, I can say I done only in Trailhead because I have no experience, or I can also mention my experiences as I have already done this. But now Mike is willing to hear. Now it's perhaps the good time for you to then say, and actually, I am unemployed. I'm just looking for a new opportunity, or I'm open in the market, however you want to call it. But before you go, hey, Mike, are you hired? I am in the market. How much money, salary. Calm down, relax, take your time, listen, and then you give back. So then you're gonna have no issue in finding your job.
Great advice. Listen and then provide value. Just convince them you've got the ability to solve problems. Excellent.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Gian. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.